Hey everyone, Rob here for another semi-live video, and I'm bringing it to you because just the other day I was thinking about the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One coming out in a couple of weeks now, and I was sort of taken aback when I realized just how long this generation has gone on. And I was looking at my game collection, and I realized, it was 7 years of gaming, which is longer than the average, and quite possibly one of the best generations that we have seen for the hobby. And so I thought, wouldn't it be cool, as I was reminiscing about, when I first got my PlayStation 3, to pick out my top 3 games for this generation. Now, the rules that I followed were that I limited this to PlayStation exclusives. Obviously, they were great multi-platform, they were great Xbox exclusives, great PC games. For this video, I'm going to be focusing on the top 3 PS3 games before the PS4 comes out. And I limited this category to games that I own and play. Obviously, there are other great PS3 games out there that a lot of people love that I might have just not tried. I think like Metal Gear Solid, games like that a ton of people have played and loved that I just didn't. So I focused on my library, my top 3 games that I've been playing over the past 6 years. I had a PlayStation 3, and I've finally narrowed it down to 3, and here they are. Number 3 is Zipper Interactive's MAG. The massive action game. It was a first-person shooter by Zipper Interactive. These are the people who did all the SOCOM games, and it promised something that other games have tried to promise, but very few have followed through on, which is a massive scale first-person shooter experience. And MAG, I feel like, was one of the first games that actually delivered. It was a game that had 256 player online multiplayer. You had 2 teams of 128, and you were playing very Battlefield style first-person combat / there was some vehicle use, fighting. And what blew my mind was it wasn't the perfect execution, and it's actually a shame that there was never a MAG 2, but it, more than any other game that promised this large-scale experience, delivered on it. MAG essentially was just 4 smaller matches going on at the same time on the same map. Never felt like you were, running across a field with 127 teammates. But at the same time, it did achieve this feeling that you were playing, you were part of something bigger. And it led to a lot of fun times when I played this game. It's a shame they never made another one, but hopefully, with the PS4's power, we can see, if not a MAG 2, something similar, or, something on that scale. With a better name, hopefully. My second favorite PS3 game is, this is probably going to sound like a safe bet, but it's Naughty Dog's Uncharted 2, Among Thieves. It's the second chapter in the Uncharted trilogy, follows Nate Drake. What's there to say? It's an amazing game. I picked the second one out of the 3 of them because I feel like it was their perfect game. It was almost like their Empire Strikes Back. 3 was really solid. 1 had a few flaws that I think they definitely improved on 2 and 3, but I think 2 sort of had such this wide range of locations and this cinematic experience that it made it more memorable and more fun. I loved, that's when they introduced multiplayer into the game. I remember groaning at the idea of it. I thought it was just pointless because at that time, if something wasn't Battlefield or Call of Duty, if it wasn't one of these major games, multiplayer was just sort of a waste. But, you get in there and you play it, and it was actually really fun, and the combat translates to multiplayer, to a multiplayer experience really well. I think what really made this stand out, aside from fantastic storytelling on Naughty Dog's part, is that during the era of the Uncharted trilogy, we saw Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, and it was, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie, it's an awful movie. It's a pretty bad Indiana Jones film. So there's a certain appreciation I have for a game that can give me an Indiana Jones experience better than Indiana Jones can, and I think they created a character that was memorable, telling great, fantastic stories. So this is my number 2 pick. There is still The Last of Us. I wouldn't have picked that just because, as great as a game as it is, zombies are just sort of overdone for me, and so they don't, grab me as much. And that's what I really liked about Uncharted, is that it grounds itself in reality for most of the game, and it's only usually towards the end that you see this shift into a supernatural, very much like the original Indiana Jones trilogy, where it's very grounded up until the end and there's some sort of mystical item that has powers. So that is my number 2 PlayStation game of PlayStation 3 game of this generation. And then my number 1 is Quantic Dreams Beyond Two Souls. Now, this might seem biased because the game just came out weeks ago. Maybe I'm still just riding the high of completing the game and enjoying it. Though I suspect if Beyond never came out, Heavy Rain would have been my number 1 pick. Why? Because these games and what Quantic Dream does is what I have always dreamed of existing in the video game medium, and they're trying it, and they're not perfect. Heavy Rain wasn't perfect. Beyond wasn't perfect. But they tried it more than any other developer out there, and they've gotten further than any other developer out there. And most importantly, if you follow Quantic Dream's games from Indigo Prophecy to Heavy Rain to Beyond, they do improve. There are aspects that people point out as flaws, and they improve on them from game to game. And I always appreciate a developer that learns from its mistakes and gets better and better as they go along. Beyond had fantastic performances. I think the plot was really good. I really enjoyed the gameplay, or whether taking the gameplay. The dialogue could have been better, honestly, but this was the truly first game, beyond Heavy Rain, that attempted to merge the cinema experience and the video gaming experience. And I think it's very forward looking, because I think that's the direction that we'll be going in gaming. Now, that doesn't mean games in the future are all going to play like Beyond. Obviously, there are other genres and people will always love them. But I think this genre is going to get bigger and bigger. And maybe rather than it sort of edging in on the video game space, it'll edge in on the film and television space, where, why watch a, narrative, follow the path television show or movie when you can play an interactive one. The Walking Dead, great example. I think probably the only example of a game and developer that does it better, but it's a multi-platform game, so for this list it doesn't really apply. In any case, these are my 3 top games of the generation: Mag, Uncharted, Beyond Two Souls. And let's hope maybe we don't have to wait a whole 7 years between this next gen and the one after that, but let's hope however many years that it lasts, there will be just as many good games out there, and maybe I'll be making a list about that in 5 years' time. Who knows? In any case, keep an eye out. I'm hoping to do some other lists like this as the generation comes to the close, multi-platform, Xbox, handheld, who knows? I just think it's really fun to take a look back and recognize how much time has passed since, the introduction of these last 3 consoles, and what there was to try out and play, and how it changed the industry. In any case, whatever you're doing between this video and the next, make the most of it, because it makes it that much better. And I hope to see you all here for the next Rob Plays Those Games video. Bye, everyone.